Hello, Hope City. It is 7 at 7 time. It is time for your nightly dose of hope and encouragement. Every night we try to take some time out of the evening and just to communicate to you and help build you up, to really keep you focused and keep you in remembrance of what was just taught, because faith comes by hearing. And Pastor Dale always says this, or he says it a lot, is faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing and hearing. Faith doesn't come by seeing. I know that might seem a little weird, but his title was "Who Are You Looking For?" And it's part of the last one in our Ready to Launch. And the theme Ready to Launch is basically Jesus in his preparation coming up to Easter or Resurrection Sunday. His whole ministry was building up to that point. And really, the resurrection is his launching point. Whenever he launched 3 years ago, that wasn't the true launch. That was all the preliminary, if you will, the preliminary stuff to get to the point where he launches his ministry, because he launched his ministry on Resurrection Day, whenever he was raised from the dead, whenever he ascended on high. Later, when he ascended into heaven, that's really the position in which he operates from and the position in which he launches his ministry. So his ministry on the earth was a preliminary to what he would do in us and through us. So I looked at that like, man, he's ready to launch his ministry on Resurrection Day. And, there's some correlations between what's going to happen this Sunday is our official launch. We've had, my father 44 years ago, basically, had a vision about starting a church, and that's what he did. And it really set up the ministry for these 44 years are building, and we're fueling the rocket. We're doing everything we can. We're plotting out, we're doing all this stuff. And, I hope that whenever I'm done with my ministering, that I've set it up to continue and ready to launch again or launch more. So I'm getting kind of distracted because I'm really trying to stay focused on what happened last Sunday, because I've been really focused on what's going to happen this Sunday. So, last Sunday was Palm Sunday, and Pastor read, a couple of passages where he came into Jerusalem, and where he raised Lazarus from the dead. It did not really pay to be Jesus's friends. And I know that might sound weird, but they got persecuted, they got ridiculed, they got so many negative things put towards them. So think about this: you're Lazarus, you are sick, and everybody, people go and tell Jesus, because he was his friends with Jesus. Jesus knows Lazarus is sick, so Lazarus is waiting for him. Lazarus is, knows that if Jesus can get there, he could heal him. I think he was waiting for Jesus to come heal him. Jesus hears the news, finishes what he's doing, takes his time. So you might think somebody in the natural would be like, felt uncared for. Jesus doesn't care about me. Why is he not doing something? And how many times do we do that in our life? That we see all these circumstances happening, and we might think, God, why aren't you doing this for me? I tithe, I give, I go to church, I do all these things, I volunteer. Why isn't... When you start doing that, you're already telling the reason why, because all your faith is in what you're doing, not in what he's done. So I think Lazarus, he's dead, and he's Jesus' friend. So then what happens? Jesus comes and raises him from the dead, like my shirt, raised to life. Raises Lazarus from the dead. Lazarus is so excited. And then you see in John 12, and I'm going to read verse 9 and 10. This is out of the Mirror Bible. It says, a large crowd of Jews heard that Jesus was in Bethany and went there not only to see Jesus, but Lazarus, who was raised from the dead. So they wanted to themselves see what happened and if Jesus really did raise him from the dead. So there were skeptics in the crowd. So then after they came and they saw that he was raised from the dead, the next verse says, so the chief priest determined to kill Lazarus as well. Well, that's great. That's awesome. I'm Jesus' friend. I just got raised from the dead. I have new life. And now there's people plotting to kill me. I think as believers, as Christians, we sometimes get this martyr syndrome where we think everyone is out to get us Christians. And as I read through the Gospels and through the book of Acts, the believers in that time paid all of that so little attention. They kept their eyes on growing the kingdom, on expanding the kingdom, on expanding the word of God, preaching the word of God. Acts, it talks about if God grant us with all boldness that we may preach your word. They didn't care what the criticism was. They didn't care what the contradictions were. They didn't care what the persecution was. They don't care about all these things because they have a mission to share God's goodness with people. And that's what they did. And that's what Jesus did. So even though Lazarus, who was Jesus' friend, honestly, I think Lazarus was probably like, well, this really stinks, but Jesus, I'm following you. And, you know, it doesn't say anywhere else where Lazarus was killed or whatever, but, you know, man, I think I've already hit my time, but yeah. So I'm just getting started. So I just want to encourage you that don't seek a miracle in your life. Seek Jesus. Lazarus didn't pursue and chase after Jesus performing a miracle in his life. After he was raised from the dead, he didn't pray and ask God to show him another miracle or do something else. He just followed Jesus. So that's my encouragement to you, is follow Jesus. I have this bracelet, Don't Stop Believing. We have some of those downstairs at our Welcome Center. More than welcome to grab one, because it reminds me anytime I come up against something, just don't stop believing. No matter what you're up against, no matter what's against you, don't stop believing. Whether it's death or whatever, Jesus is a miracle worker, but whether a miracle happens in my life or not, I am going to follow him. So thank you all. Have a great night. I'm with you again tomorrow night, and I'm going to do a couple of different things tomorrow night. So God bless you, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.